Hi everyone, in this video we'll be talking about whether you should do a summer internship or whether you should do a placement year internship. In the past I was fortunate enough to do both, so I did my placement year working at Goldman Sachs in the finance division, and then subsequently after this I went on to work for JP Morgan, again in the global finance and business management division as a summer intern. So I was fortunate enough to have both experiences and they differ quite a lot. So in this video we'll be talking about the key differences between a placement year and a summer internship. I break it down into 5 different factors. So these are program length, return offer probability, the CV value, working hours, and total earnings. So let's get straight into it by starting off with program length. A summer internship at most organizations runs for about 6 to 12 weeks on average, so it's quite a small process, whereas a placement year usually runs for about 50 to 52 weeks on average. So if you know exactly which company and which division you want to work for, so for example, you know that, okay, I want to work in the finance division at Goldman Sachs, or you want to work for a specific division in a specific company, then a summer internship is a great way to go about securing that return offer. Because you spend 10 weeks there, you have a great time, you meet the people, you understand the culture, and then once you get the return offer, you just have to go back to university and you've saved yourself a whole year because you haven't had to spend that placement year there. On the other hand, a placement year is 52 weeks long and therefore it has its own benefits. For example, you might get to move out for longer. So for me, I lived at home for university, and so, doing a 52-week long placement gave me the chance to move to London. It gave me the chance to move to a bigger city. Obviously that has its own social benefits. I got to live with my friends, which was really nice for me. And therefore, you might want to consider a placement year, even if you know exactly which, division and which company you want to work for, just because it gives you that year to go and live on your own, develop some other skills, and, maybe live with your friends as well. Maybe you'll never get that chance to do that later on. So program length is really important to consider. The next factor to consider is all about your return offer probability, which is really, really important. So of course, after you've spent a summer internship somewhere or you've done a placement year, the main objective here is to get that return offer so that when you go back to university in your final year, you don't have to spend time stressing applying for jobs because you've already got one secured. So when it comes to summer internships, the probability of being given a return offer is really, really high. This is because, you've only been there for 6 to 12 weeks, and as a result, the company can only teach you so many things and assess you on so many things. So as a result, during your summer internship, you're only actually given, a small amount of tasks to do. You might be given a little project as well. So as long as you deliver well on those things, you're likely to get that return offer. In contrast, as a placement year student, you spent a whole year there, and because you've spent 52 weeks there, the company has a lot more time to test you and give you so many different workflows. As a result, because they spend so much time teaching you, they can assess you on more things, and as a result, your delivery needs to be even better because you've had time to practice all of these different things. This means that it can be harder to impress because you need to be at the top of your game for 52 weeks instead of just the 10 weeks if you did a summer internship. So this is again something to consider when it comes to applying for a summer internship or a placement year. The third factor to consider is all about the CV value of a summer internship or a placement year. So when it comes to applying for graduate roles, longer experiences on your CV are really, really valuable. For example, having a placement year where you spent a whole year learning different workflows, adding lots of value and learning so many different skills is much better than a 10-week summer internship where you wouldn't have had the chance to develop so many of those skills, which you would have done if you were there for 52 weeks. As a result, the CV value of a placement year is really, really high when it comes to applying for graduate jobs, whereas a summer internship, of course, it's really, really valuable. A 10-week experience is so valuable when it comes to applying for jobs, but a 52-week experience is, of course, a little bit better. In this case, if you just want to add value to your CV, a placement year is better than a summer internship in this case. However, having said that, if you want to do an internship somewhere and you know that you want to return to the same organization, as I was mentioning earlier, if you're somebody that knows, okay, I want to work in finance, I want to work at Goldman Sachs, and nothing is going to change your mind otherwise, then a summer internship is better because obviously you'll get that return offer and you'll end up in the same place regardless of whether you've done a summer internship or a placement year. So in a case where you're sure about where you want to go, a summer internship is better because you don't need to worry about CV value. Whereas if you want to make sure that your CV value is quite high when it comes to applying for other graduate jobs, then a placement year is better in this case. The next factor to consider is all about the working hours. So when it comes to a summer internship, working hours are generally a little bit better. This is because, during the internship, the firm are trying to create a really good impression on the interns because, of course, even from their point of view, they've spent so much money hiring the interns that they want to create a good impression so that the interns want to come back, provided that they've received an offer. So, during your summer internship, working hours are nice, or they could be potentially nicer than when you're doing a placement year for that reason. In addition to this, the summer internship is packed, with lots of different informative sessions. So sometimes the firm holds sessions on ESG, the firm culture, volunteering, there's various town halls that go on. There's so many things that go on that take up space in your calendar. And as a result, you end up working a smaller amount of hours during any single week. In addition to this, the company also put on a lot of different socials when interns are around. And as a result, again, the working hours are a little bit better and you actively get encouraged not to work late into the evenings. Again, as I was mentioning earlier, because you're only there for 10 weeks, you're not given that much work because the firm doesn't have enough time to teach you so many things. And again, the working hours as a result are a little bit better. On the other hand, if you would do a placement year, working hours can be a little bit longer because you're staffed on a lot more projects and therefore you're constantly having to balance a lot of different things on your plate. Especially in the second half of your placement year, the back end 6 months where you're really trying to create a good impression and deliver well on your projects so that, you can show them that you're at the top of your game and that you deserve a return offer. This all kind of makes for working hours to be a little bit longer compared to if you were just a summer intern who was only there for 10 different weeks. The fifth factor to consider is all about your total earnings. So the monthly salary for summer interns and placement year students is actually really similar in most organizations or even the same. But obviously as a summer intern, you only get paid for 10 weeks, whereas as a placement year student, you get paid for the whole year or however long you work for the year. If you're somebody who wants to make some savings before they return to university, then the placement year option here might be a great idea as you'll be able to create a large amount of savings. Also, earning for a whole year means that you get to spend that money on the things that you love doing most. So for example, on my placement year, I went on a small holiday every single month, and because I was earning for a whole year, it meant that I could go on so many different holidays during the year. And as a result, I actually traveled around a lot of Europe, at just the age of 19, which was an amazing experience for me that I got to do with my friends that I wouldn't have been able to do if I did a summer internship. So this brings us to the final conclusion. Is it better to do a summer internship or is it better to do a placement year? Well, the real answer is it really depends on what you want out of your internship. So for example, if you're somebody that knows exactly which division they want to work in and exactly which company they want to work for, and nothing's going to change your mind otherwise, then a summer internship is probably the better option here. This is because you end up working for the company for about 8 to 10 weeks, you secure that return offer if you do a really good job, and as a result, you return the following year once you've graduated as a full-time employee. On the other hand, in this case, if you did a placement year, you'd have spent a whole year proving your worth, which is, a lot harder because you have to stay at the top of your game for 52 weeks, for example, and you end up securing the same full-time role that you would have secured had you only spent 10 weeks there as a summer intern. On the other hand, if you're unsure about exactly which role or which company you want to work for, a placement year gives you the chance to get a deeper understanding of the company because, you get to spend a whole year there and you get to understand the company's values, the culture, the people, their teams, your colleagues and your workflows and so much more. You get to do that full in-depth analysis of if you want to go and work for that company full time. On the other hand, if you choose not to return after your placement year, you still have a full year's worth of work experience, which you can then use to apply for other companies when it comes to applying for graduate jobs, which you wouldn't have been able to do if you only had a summer internship. Of course, 10 weeks work experience is great, but having a year is better, and having a year is something more than many other applicants will have. Also, if you want to spend 52 weeks and do a placement year somewhere, it gives you the chance to earn money while you do this, and as a result, you have a whole year's worth of income, which is more than you would have if you were a summer intern. And you can spend that income on anything you like. So for example, for me, it was traveling and it gave me the opportunity to travel, but for you, it could be something else. The final tip that I wanted to share is that you shouldn't actually rule out doing both a placement year and a summer internship. If the timings line up and you're willing to do this and you're willing to make applications while you're on your placement year, you can actually do your placement year, time it well so that you have a short break in between, and then you move on to your summer internship, and after that you go back off to do your final year at university. Obviously there's a few benefits to this, which means that you now have 2 companies from which you could secure a return offer from, or if you don't feel like going back to any of these companies, you can at least use the experience that you've now got on your CV to go and apply for other graduate jobs once you're in your final year at university. So there's those benefits of doing both. However, it's hard to time and get them to line up, but also you lose your summer break. So sometimes people just want to chill after they've done their placement year. It's quite a long process, and they just want to use their final summer to actually chill and have fun with their friends, go traveling and things like that. So if you're somebody that really just wants the experience, then you can even try both, placement year and summer internship. But if you've got travel plans or something like that, then make sure you just stick to one that might suit you better. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you found it useful. If you did, hit that like button for me. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next video.